We are going live right now. Let's just confirm. You've got the stream pulled up. You're able to see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yeah,
we're live now. Simon confirmed.
Sweet.
All right, a bit of technical difficulties. So for the people in the room, thanks for joining and sorry for the delay. We're a couple minutes late. We had to switch up our setup, so it'll only get better from here. But I'm Adam from UJAM. I'm here with Daniel. And today we're going to walk you guys through some of the new features and cool pieces of the new finisher that just dropped today, which is called Boost. Daniel, you want to say hi, do a little intro?
I'm Daniel. Some of you may know me. I'm doing UGM stuff for a while now, and yeah, I'm excited to see what you do with Finisher Boost, because I know it's kind of your brainchild as well. And or am I wrong? No, it is, right?
Yeah. So I was the product owner for this as well.
Yeah, so I'm. I mean, I played around with it. I think I did 2 demo tracks with it. But still, there's always more to learn. So yeah, man. Do
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'll just give a quick little overview of the product, like what it's for. So if you're familiar, if you UJammers are familiar with the Finisher series.
Actually, hold up. Sorry, let me interrupt really quick. Tell me before we go into that, because now it's kind of fun because we switched, like we switched seats. So tell me, what was your idea behind it?
Yeah, so we knew that we wanted to set out and create a finisher that, you know, could handle transition effects. That was the baseline of what we wanted to do. We knew that there wasn't really any effective plugin in existence that could do all of those things. There are some competitors that do one of them, risers or drops or whatever. But I mean, and it came from a standpoint as producers, you know, people in UGM are musicians. So we all knew that there wasn't really anything that was this single comprehensive solution for seamless transitions. Most people will use sample packs.
Right.
Like me, that's kind of what I was doing before we built Boost. You know, and transition packs, you know, you could download them on Splice or other sample databases. But the problem usually with those, at least that I found to be the case, was they don't have anything to do with the sounds in your arrangement. So you really have to find samples with the right tonality to complement the mix. You know what I mean? So it's not like it had nothing to do with the instruments you're using. That was one issue. And because of that, it was hard to mix them well. And I found myself going through these sample packs and never really finding much that sounded different either. Everyone would sound the same, you know? It's like the same riser samples or downsweep samples. So that was really the problem that we wanted to solve. Right. We wanted to make something that A, would allow you to sound different from everybody, but also B, would somehow use your input signal to always give you new results. So you could slap this thing on a new song and it would be a new transition and it would work in that song. You know, that's really what we tried to do. But so the actual the vision of the thing is, you know, we went with this comical loud energy drink branding because it's maximum energy transitions. You know, like you go to this thing when you want to pump up your track, whether it's upward, downward, or both. It gives that little like oomph to your production that you might not know how to do. And if you do know how to do it, all of the automations are just crazy. You know, it's like it takes hours to like line up effect arrays and then automate everything. So that's really the approach for Boost. And we can dive into the plugin because I know people watching probably want to see what it can do or what its purpose is, you know. So I don't have much of a session set up, so I want to just like pull in some kind of audio clip. So I think this is just one of the default Ableton clips.
For the people in the chat, for the people watching, if you see me looking to the left, it's just I have his screen on my left screen, so don't think I'm doing other things on the side.
Sweet.
But that's dope. Like I like the concept because of that. it's so versatile. You can use it for all kinds of genres, and yeah, like you said, it will just adapt to your song and your genre, whatever it is you're working in.
Yeah, and it's totally something you need. Like oftentimes I'll write a song and I won't even think about a transition. It's something that I used to think about when I was a
Right.
beginner, and then I stopped caring as I got more technical. And then now it's kind of like it's what separates a professional production from just an idea. You know what I mean? Um, so let's. I'm gonna take a look
Right.
at the actual plugin. So you'll notice some
Okay.
differences between the other finishers, and obviously the one you'll notice if you installed the demo or if you tried it already is that the main finisher control here is a little bit different, and there's some extra kind of magic happening there, and that's because basically with Boost you are running it's looking at your DAW's session timeline as sort of a frame of reference. So when I click play, a loop starts to run, and you'll see these beats counting to tell you where you are in the loop, and then you'll see the effect filling up in orange just to kind of indicate where it is proportionally in the max. So if I lower it, the max of the effect is a little bit lower. So the knob functionality is the same as other finishers. So basically you pick an effect that you want. I'll dive into this in a minute, but we have risers, impacts, transitions. So you
Right.
pick one that you want, and then depending on what mode is active, it will change the way it behaves in the loop engine under the hood. And basically, it's the same as all finishers. So you dial in the full effect however you want it. You'll see the can does a little animation to match you, which is a nice little touch. But so basically, you'll dial in the max value. If it's a little too aggressive, you can pull it back, and it knows not to go past that. But so just like every other finisher, you have vary knobs that are unique. Every time I change the mode, they do different things, and it's kind of how they sound. But in Finisher Boost, the first and fourth vary controls are always the same. So if I change the modes, you'll notice they're always the same. Those don't change. And these are to control the loop. So I'm just going to start running it so you can kind of understand how it behaves. So here is a default Ableton loop that I pulled up. It's just a guitar loop. So you might have heard that if you own Ableton. That's just because I don't have my hard drive plugged in right now. But so with that loop going, I'm just going to put it at the start of the session, and I'll start using Boost in riser mode. So when you open Boost, there are categories at the top for the modes, and that helps you know, like if you know what you want to use the effect on. Let's say you have drums and you want your drums to rise. There's a drums category. And if you want to do your whole track, there's a track category, and so on. But once you pick a category, so we're in instrument right now, there are risers, impacts, and transitions. So if you're a producer, you might already know risers are upward, they're building tension, and they point to a chorus or some new point of the song. And then impacts are the opposite. So they'll start with all the tension and dwindle out. And then a transition is kind of the two fused together. So you get an up and a down. But so let's just look at a riser, and we're in instrument mode because I'm using a guitar loop. So we'll just click on one of these right now. Make sure the effect is up, and I will just play it so you can hear something. And so you can see right away that it's pretty quick, and that's because I have two measures selected on the loop. So the first control allows you to change the length. So if I wanted it to be longer than that, now it's 4 bars. So if I click play, you'll actually, if I click play now, you'll see that it's a little bit longer. So you might want 4 or 8 bar risers. So and so so obviously in application wise, you might want to set it to longer, but I'm going to keep it short just so you can hear it more often in this live stream. So, but I'll show you some of the variation controls too. So that adds a hiss to the sound, you know. And then it does a little extra stuff on the third control. And then the beauty of the plugin is all the different modes. So I'm just gonna go through a couple of the modes.
Yeah.
So that's a fun one. That one is a riser because it's approaching a song element, but it actually sounds like it's moving downward, you know. So this is all application based. Like you're reaching towards something, that's a riser, and you're coming from something, that's an impact. But so I'm just gonna keep playing through a couple.
Yeah.
Let's go to some track examples here. And so one thing to note is that I'm using this on a single instrument right now. So I'm using it on a guitar. This is more subtle. So if the more elements you bring into it, the kind of more different it sounds, you know. So this is.
I like the vinyl break one.
The vinyl break one. Let's play the
That one is dope, especially like that one. If you put that on a whole, like for my demo track, I used that on my on the entire track, and that's kind of cool because it gives you the feeling of like a record kind of stopping and then starting again. So that one was dope.
Yeah, that one tries to emulate the classic vinyl break and then it restart. Yeah, so that's by the way, Daniel did Rusher, aka Rusher. He did one of the demo tracks for Finisher Boost, right? So that's what he was saying. He's used some of these modes. He knows how this thing works in the context of a production. And I do too. It's actually funny. One thing that I tell everyone in the dev team is that every time I was testing Boost, I would just use the most recent bounce of one of my songs in a new session just to test Boost and like see how it's behaving. And I would always find transitions that I wanted to add to my song, and I'm like, that sounds cool. And then I'd get distracted and like print it into my song because it's
for sure. And I mean, the benefit is you don't have to do any automations or anything because you can just adjust it. And it also like the way it works with the length of the loop kind of reminds me of DJ mixers because you have the effects on there and you can actually also change it like that. Like whenever you have a filter or whatever, you can just switch it to how many bars you want to use it. So that's really dope and intuitive, I think.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm just realizing I don't have many sounds on this computer without my hard drive, so I'm going to load other plugins to kind of add some elements. So that's really fast. Let's okay, so I'm just going to add any old drum loop from this is shameless plug of VD Hot, another UGEM product that I love. Just a drummer. So I'm just going to add more elements and then group them, and I'll move Boost to the group so it just has a little more sounds. Probably would have been wise for me to have a prepared session, but I apologize for that. So let's drop Boost on this now. So now we have this is the group now without Boost. So that's the song we're now working with. Not the most awesome song, but it's a start. So vinyl break, yeah, this is the one Daniel was talking about here. So let's just see how this sounds. Yeah, so it does that classic like kind of hip hoppy, like everything drops out and then boom, you get that impact. And so that's another example of a riser that sounds kind of like a downer, but it's the intention is that you're approaching this new, like if you're going towards a chorus, everything drops out and then the chorus is huge. So let's go through some different modes. So these are risers. Let's look at some impacts. So impacts are, I personally tend to use them, a lot of people use them at the start of a song, like the very, very first beat just gives all this ambience. You're like, okay, the song's starting. Or coming out of a chorus, sometimes you need tension because there's so much tension in the chorus that when you're exiting, the next verse might seem a little bit weak, so sometimes I use impacts there. But so here are some of those impacts. We'll just use the track category still. We'll start it at the downbeat here. So there's a classic reverb bomb. That one's cool. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
But so you'll notice that I forgot my train of thought right there. Oh, one thing I completely brushed over earlier is this control. So the fourth, as I mentioned earlier, the 1 and 4 vari knobs, the blue ones, are static on all the modes. And then the fourth one, so the first one controls the loop length. You can do 2 bars, 4 bars, 8 bars. And then there's a manual mode here, which I'll touch on right after this. But the beat, the other important control here is the beat. So basically, the way I like to think about this and the easiest way to understand it is this is the beat that the instrument is looking to. So if you want a certain beat to be emphasized, let's say you're building to
Oh,
so if you're building to a drop, the downbeat is the emphasis. So you want it on the first beat.
right.
But sometimes, maybe sometimes I like to skew my drop transitions and like do a half a measure pickup or something. You can then move where it lands. So I can move it
Oh,
by,
I didn't even know. Oh, okay.
yeah, so you can move it like 2 beats, and then you actually see
Right.
exactly where it's running. So if I have the
Uh-huh.
effect running, you'll see where it's gonna
Oh, okay.
hit. Yeah, so the knob was off there, but you'll see where it's gonna hit. So by default, like if we have an impact here, it starts on 1, and then if I move this,
Got it. Oh, that's dope. Okay.
so you'll see that it's basically like the whole effect is shifting. Like,
Right.
like if you imagine the riser as a sample, you're basically dragging the whole thing over by X many beats.
Yeah.
So it's super helpful to
Sick.
like position it. Yeah.
That's dope because like I think also what's dope about it is it reacts so fast because like there are other plugins that like other effect plugins, it's almost like they have to listen for a while first before they can actually do something with it. You know what I mean? And it seems to be kind of instant here in a way. And man, that is a dope feature. I didn't up until now, like honestly, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it was.
So it's actually, so we defined it so it's by default on beat 1, because most of the time that's what a user will want. And so like every 4 measures, every 2, 8 measures, whatever the loop is, that's when
Right.
it'll repeat. So by default, if you have a typical song structure and you load boost, it'll be on beat 1. So by default,
Right.
most of the time you'll look at measures
It'll
8.
fit.
After 16 measures, you'll have the effect happening again, and
Right.
so at first that could be a little like confusing. Yeah, it could be a little confusing if you either don't have that structure set up. So sometimes I like to have a little bit of blank space before my session, but it's not really
Right.
intentional. It's just to give me room. So in those cases, the beat counter is really helpful. I'll just skew it.
Right.
But the other thing I wanted to dive into is the manual mode. So basically these 3 modes, 2, 4, 8 bars, are the looping mechanism. That's where it runs for you, and that's the beauty of the Finisher series is
Right.
it does it for you. You can pop this on a song. I wish I had a full song file. I don't think I do because this sounds kind of weak with just 2 instruments.
Do you have hold up.
All my files are missing. That's the only thing. Let me. I don't think I have. What instruments can I do? I mean, I could just add more instruments, but I don't want this song to sound bad. So
Do you have
let's see what other loops we have in here.
I was gonna say I'll send you a track, but
I'm using that already. Yeah, so I mean, yeah. So I guess this is what we have to work with, but I wish I had a. Maybe I can send myself something from my phone here, but I don't want to. If you do have any sort of track actually, and you wanted to, and you're able to send it to me, Daniel, while I go over some features,
I do.
like any kind of beat or like a you could put it in Slack maybe. But so
Yeah, I'll actually send you the one that I used that I turned into a demo track.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, so while Daniel's looking for that, I'll keep going over some of the features. So the manual mode, like I was saying, some people might not want the. Let me just open Slack so I can get that link there. Some people might not want that.
Sorry, hold up. Sorry.
You got something playing.
I sent you the wrong link. That one already had Boost on it, so there you go.
Okay, here we go. Let's use this.
That's the same link. Okay.
Let's download that. All right, sweet. Sorry for the viewers. I wish I had that loop already prepared. But so as it's, let's actually pop that in. It should be already downloaded here.
At least this is authentic here, so.
Yeah, you're getting the raw experience here over at YouTube.
Nothing, yeah.
All right, Doom Slayer Dead Pixel. Is this one of your tracks, Daniel?
Yeah, that's, I was like, I need an alter ego for techno stuff. So
Oh, that's your alias? Yeah.
it was just random, but yeah.
So let's just hear what the track sounds like. It's like a techno. Nice. Sweet. So then we can get rid of this garbage that I put on this other bus, and we'll use Boost.
So wouldn't you need to adjust the BPM now, though?
To fit your song?
Yeah.
So I don't know how your song sounded. Is this not 160? Because that sounds. Like it could work.
I think it's like 120. No, 140. I think.
So I'm just gonna keep it at 160, but boost will, if I did change the tempo, it knows. Boost is automatically
Okay.
linked to the host, so you can actually even automate the tempo, and it will always stay on time. So
Okay.
so basically, you don't have to worry about tempo confusion with boost. It's always gonna look at the host tempo sync. So if I change Ableton, it knows what to do.
Okay.
But I kind of like your song this quick, so I'm gonna keep it like this if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Yeah. Hey, go with it, man.
But yeah, so let's close the group here. So now we have boost. I want to show the manual mode here. So let's pick a track riser again.
So that just for me to understand. So manual mode, it just doesn't look at loops. You can automate it probably.
Right. So basically,
Okay.
if I'm in a loop, you'll see the effect increasing. Right. Let's go back to beat one. You'll see the effect increasing with the orange. Right. It fills up.
Right.
And that's like a crazy riser already. Now you can hear with a full song, it's like crazy.
Right.
But so yeah, so in auto mode you see the orange filling up for you. But if I switch to manual mode, it bypasses. You'll notice the beat counter is not available, and it's bound to the finisher control. So now I can just draw in my own. If I didn't want the same linear automatic riser, I could now go into Ableton and automate it up with whatever
Oh, that's sick.
whatever curve I want. Exactly. So now I can just draw it in manual mode. And you'll hear that it just stays wherever I leave the control. So
Right.
I can at max value it'll just keep going.
I think that's cool too because yeah, I think that's cool that you can actually manually because I mean I'm sure that there will be modes that actually just as an effect on certain things sound dope. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
can just instead of using it against what it's for, you can just
Yeah.
also do that.
We have this category in here called manual mayhem. I'm wondering if this is. It's basically a category. So I'm wondering if my presets on this computer are the categories are correct here, but I'm wondering if I have the right ones
The
because
preset, okay.
I've installed so many versions. But so basically in the preset category, we have one that's called Manual Mayhem, and it's our sound designer, Derek Von Crow. He was basically saying, he was realizing in testing that when you're in manual mode, just like you said, there's so many effects that are cool that aren't really for transitions. Like if you just let it
Right.
sit there, like these modes are fun to play with. So like that could just be a little effect atmospheric thing,
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of those to play with in the manual preset category. And for those who are either unfamiliar with finishers, or if you have a finisher and you've always kind of wondered preset versus mode, just to reiterate that the difference between global presets and finisher modes is that the finisher mode is just the complex effect chain. So that's the mode we designed for the product. And then the preset actually takes a snapshot of that mode as well as all of the controls. So presets will actually have values set for these knobs, the finisher knob, the volumes, etc. And so that's the difference between global presets. So what we did was we went through, you have all of the risers and upsweeps in one category, even if they're coming from different applications, So if you know that you just want to look for a riser, go to this category and you can just start playing with these. Just keep going through them. But yeah, and so on. And so if I go to, same thing with impacts and downsweeps. The other thing I didn't really show is transitions. I mentioned that there are fusions of the two. So I could pick, let's go to track and just pick a transition to show you. So every 2 measures it's going to repeat. So you'll hear it starting on the downer and then it repeats up to that point. So if I lengthen it, let's do that for 4 bars. So this is really good for fusing 2 song elements together, like verse, maybe hook into verse or whatever, which is cool. And so one thing I wanted, there are two little hidden features in this plugin that make it actually way more powerful. One of which is this little button above the finisher knob. This is new, and it's proprietary to this finisher. This is just.
Okay, see, I'm learning. Like I'm just here to learn. So
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
So you've
I'm like,
used
what?
you've used it on a track, but you got that value out of the box. You didn't really have to dive in. too
Right,
much.
right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I didn't even know about the manual mode, and I didn't know about the beat shifting. So, and now a button. Okay, what else? Impress me more.
The button, so this is just a flip button. So basically it's really intuitive.
Mm, okay.
If I hear a riser that I like this falling feedback one, for example,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to 2 measures. I know they're very quick, but it's just easier to listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I say, wow, I like that, but like I don't need a riser. I'm trying to have an impact. So basically you can flip it. So by default it loads pointing this way, which is
Okay.
rising. If I flip it, the arrow flips and then it behaves like an impact and you'll see the automation go the other way.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So now the whole effect is actually flipped. So basically this button pretty much doubles the value of all the modes, because when I flip any of these modes, it's a new effect. It's not like
Right.
it's not like it's one of these impacts already, you know. So you're basically getting a new effect by flipping each of them. So an example again, impact. Let's say every time you click one, it'll go to the default, so you don't have to worry about am I flipped, you know. So
Right.
let's pick a new impact, and by default it sounds like this. Let's put some of these parameters up. So in our impulse, this one's cool. It's a really clean sound. I use this in my tracks. So let's say I wanted that to be a riser. Let's flip it. So right away, you just kind of flip it around. But so that's one of the hidden features. The flip button, it turns risers into impacts. It turns impacts into risers. And for transitions, it mirrors it. So it's still
Right,
it's
okay.
still flipping it. But so basically, you'll notice like if I was in a transition, like this, and then it rises. And then I flipped it, you would notice it would just do the opposite. So
Right.
it rises
Okay.
first, and then it crashes. So that's just helpful for positioning the transition. And again, you kind of have a new effect there when you flip it.
Right.
So
That's sick.
so yeah, the flip button is new. It's a cool feature to so that's something that is in the preset. So that's why there are more risers in here than are listed in modes, is because we're making new, you know,
Right.
we're flipping them and editing them. So another of the hidden features I wanted to show real quick. So this third vary control, you'll notice there's a ticker in the middle here. So if let's just for simplicity, I'm gonna pick another riser here, just to see what it sounds like on 2 measures. So that's what that one sounds like. I can increase this and it'll do whatever it says. So it's like a pitch shifty type variation. So let's do that. So now you get a way more of a drastic effect. But so once I go to the left though, past the center tick, it starts to filter out the dry signal. So you'll actually have a more substantial transition effect because it's filtering the dry signal, but also the cool thing is if you go to 0, there's no dry signal and it allows you to print the audio of the effect. So like,
Oh, that's sick.
so that's what
Oh, man.
I tend to like
Yeah.
to do this because I mean the auto mode, the way that I use this is I'll load this thing on my track, play with the modes until an effect sounds right in auto mode, and I'll change the length or whatever. But then personally, because I'm like my own mix engineer kind of,
Right.
I like everything on separate tracks. So I
So the
like to
effect
move
you
that
leave
down.
on there.
Yeah, I would move this down and you'll hear just the dry. I'll play an example of that. So here's the effect. If I go slightly lower, you'll hear it start to filter it out. So now it's starting to pump more. And so if I go all the way to 0, you get just the effect.
Right. That's sick.
Yeah, so then I would personally print that to an audio track, mix it separately as an effect, and you can hear in the buffer, in the effect, it sounds like parts of the dry signal are in there, and they are, because the plugin
Right.
is
It
using
takes it as a reference.
it's using your signal. It's grabbing bits and resampling and you know, so it is still just wet, even though it sounds similar, but that's the beauty of the plugin, is it's building an effect out of your sounds. So that's
That's crazy.
yeah, that's the little hidden feature there. If you're a control freak like me,
Yeah, I mean,
drag
yeah,
it
but
down.
like you said, I mean, I'm the same way because like I mean, I produce all kinds of genres and looking for those sounds. It's just as you said. With the problem is finding sounds that actually fit like what you want in your song, and that
Absolutely.
completely eliminates that. So man, that's sick.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, and so I just wanted to skip ahead to another part of your song in case there's more
Yeah, there is
going
more
on.
action going on. Yeah, for
Nice.
sure.
But yeah, is there? Do you see anything in the chat? I'm wondering if anyone has specific questions yet. But if
I don't
not,
know. I think everybody's just excited for the license that we're giving away. We're giving away 3 copies.
oh yeah, is it just if you
Yeah.
comment, then we're doing a raffle or something?
I'm not sure how it works. What do we? What do
What are we
people have to
doing?
do?
UGM
I don't know.
Instruments, the account. I'm sure they'll message in there for
Yeah, for
instruction.
sure. Like we are just clueless, but
We're just
you
the
guys
guys
will
with
somehow
the
win it.
yeah. So that's super cool. But so I'm thinking,
Yeah.
what else can I walk us through here? So,
I don't know. Do you guys have any questions?
or if they're
Anybody in the
specific, I
chat?
can just play more of the effects, maybe. You know.
I mean, play more, but it's like, hold on, let me see. Maybe we got some questions. No. But it's definitely such a unique idea. I mean, I love, honestly, like the finishers. I keep saying that, not just because I'm involved with UGEM, but I love the finishers. So man, this is such a dope addition.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like this becomes one of those products I have to use on every song because I mean I'm an Ableton Live user and I have my own custom racks for build-up automations, but it's like really it slows you down, you know, it
Yeah.
really does. And this is a quick solution to give you something that sounds final. You know, you don't have to revisit and readjust all the shapes and everything. So
That's the thing, yeah. I mean, you can like pretty much on the go. You can just like mess with it too, and that's so dope. So okay, so as for are the presets automatable? Can you automate them?
like to change the preset.
I
Or-
think that's what he asks. I don't know if
think-
that's a MIDI thing. I don't think so.
I don't think you can in the finishers, no. But you can
No,
automate
I
the
don't think
modes. You can change modes if you need to, which will mostly capture. So the workaround would be you change the mode, and then if you really needed to, you could emulate the preset by also automating the knobs. Which, because keep in mind, a preset is basically a mode packaged with knob positions.
Combination,
Yeah, so if you could essentially get the same effect, but the
Yeah.
modes are automatable. You can switch modes
Okay.
in your song. If you want a different effect later, you can automate the mode.
Yeah, I guess that's what the question refers to, because then you can like all the other parameters you can also automate. How much CPU does it use? I don't think it used a lot. I
It's
don't
not
think-
much. We Steam tested it on most platforms, all platforms, and we compared it to existing finishers, and it's pretty much
Yeah.
on par with. So if you've used other finishers like Retro or Dynamo or Voodoo, Flux, any of them, you can expect it to be about the same. So I've run multiple instances without any issues. I'm on an M1, so I don't know. It depends on your system, obviously. CPU.
I'm on an older one, and I like in my demo song I used like I think 4 instances, and I didn't have any issues. So
Okay,
I
nice.
think
Yeah. I mean,
should be a
we
problem.
did thorough testing on it, and we didn't encounter any issues. So if you do encounter issues, it would be seemingly rare, but let us know if you do. But yeah, it seems really good so far on our end in the testing department and compared to our existing products. So, and again, it's free. I haven't really plugged this yet, but as with all UGEM products, it's free for 30 days. So
Right.
there's no reason why you can't just download the trial and see for yourself. If you're worried about the CPU load, then load it up and put 10 instances on a full song, see what happens, and let us know. You know.
yeah. Let's see. There are more questions. Hold up. Okay, Andrew Marshall asks, does it compress as well? What if I'm already having a very compressed sound sending through Boost? It doesn't compress, right? I don't think there's compression.
So it's hard to say because our sound designer, the effect modules of the finishers are so
all under the hood.
involved. There's something like 5 different buses with 76 different effects to use in designing a finisher mode. So there could be instances where the sound designer uses a bit of multi-band compression, but basically there is no effect in here that's just like compressing. So you shouldn't expect anything outrageous. Like you shouldn't have to worry about stacking compression on top of, like I would compress something going into this and that's no issue. You have input output leveling to kind of control it if you need to. But no, so the focus is in no way on compression. It might be in there. I don't actually know all of the submodules because I basically
under the
just
hood,
review
yeah.
the full mode, you know. But so yeah, I haven't had any issues in using this on a compressed signal. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we have with all the finishers. You can't really break anything, or for that matter, with all the UGEM plugins, it's really hard to
Yeah, well,
like
because they're really,
completely.
it's very like safety is in mind in developing these things, and
Yeah.
we know that ultimately the most important thing is the user's input and output signals, you know,
Hmm.
and if we break the signal or make it sound like trash, then that's our number one job is failed, you know. So,
Right, 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 for
so
sure.
that's for sure always on our mind. So I wouldn't be worried about what you send into it. One thing I have noticed is if you feed it a mastered level track, like if you master your song, things are going to get loud and that's just because it's mastered, you know. So
Right,
use the input and output staging as needed, but
for
it's
sure.
recommended to not do this on an actually already mastered song, which most of the
Yeah.
time you wouldn't need to anyway because you're producing.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, yeah, so there shouldn't be an issue with stacking this with a compressor and vice versa.
Dope. People are asking where they can get the drink, and if you email Adam, he will send you a 6 pack of cans of Finisher Boost.
As soon as I find out where to get them, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's
and
funny
then
because it's just it's a nice combination of all of my favorite like energy drinks in games and whatnot. Like I don't know if people
mhm.
have played Sunset Overdrive or I think there's an
Dude,
old school
yeah,
game called Rampage where you drink an energy drink and turn into like a beast, and it's like
that's so random that you mentioned Sunset Overdrive. Somebody who works with us in UGEM did compose the music for us for it.
that's Boris, right? Yeah,
Boris, yep, yep.
yeah. So I
He has
actually
a,
he is actually the mastermind behind the Symphonic Elements series.
yep, yep.
So
Really cool
he's the
dude.
yeah he did the score for Sunset Overdrive, which is an amazing game. But yeah, the
Yep.
premise of that game is you drink this crazy drink called Overcharge, and it turned everyone into mutant zombies because it wasn't tested. So
Well, and if you drink Finisher Boost, it turns you into
a
amazing.
riser, yeah,
Yeah,
it might turn you into analog signals or something. I don't know, but
yeah. Let's see. There's more questions. Is there a limiter integrated? I think there might be,
there's
but
so
I don't know.
we have a very moderate and mild limiter that usually isn't even triggered. It's mostly just there for safekeeping. So it's not gonna like for example, if you look at the output meter, it's not gonna
Mhm.
level it at 0. You'll still see the signal coming above there. It'll only kind of level it if it starts to really clip and slam. You'll notice you might not even notice it. It's a little bit of a softening, so it just makes it
Mhm.
sound worse than I mean better than it could. If it weren't there. So it's just kind of like a safety limiter, but no, you
Mhm.
do want to keep in mind that I mean, you want to control this meter. You want to keep an eye on your output if it gets too loud and then limit it more if you want after.
Yeah.
But it's more of a safety limiter. It's not actually that functional, I don't think.
Does the plugin have mid-side control options? I don't know what
It
that.
does. I assume you mean mid-side like signal processing, and that it would not
Mhm.
offer that. No.
Okay.
But I mean, one way around, I guess you could solo the wet effects and then open a mid-side EQ or something. That's what I would probably do.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. Is it might be nice to just show more because I feel like we didn't show that much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
Are
I
there
mean, go ahead.
specific types of sounds anyone has requested? Risers, impacts, transitions? Because I'll just like
Not really,
I'll just keep
dude.
running
Just
through them.
yeah. Just show us some from all the each category. I mean, now it makes sense. What happens if you have a vocal one on a whole track? Let me see.
So that's the thing. These are just suggestions. That's a very good question. Yeah.
Right.
So these are. You'll notice everything is in the same. Like we put them all in one preset category. Even if a mode might be recommended for vocals, we might put
Mhm.
it in a category where you can use it on anything, and that's because you can. Like they're still just cool effects. So if I go to vocals and I go to riser, reverse growth, let's just see what happens on Daniel's track. Oh, I have the wet effect soloed. My bad. Like that's still a riser. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you can hear that it's more washy. So I totally would
Right.
understand why it's better on a vocal. So it probably
Hmm.
sounds super angelic and like floaty. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So and a lot of
Someone,
yeah.
someone wants to hear it on vocals. Do you have any vocal samples there?
I don't know if I
Let
do.
me see. Let me see.
If
I
you have
can
a
send
loop,
you.
maybe
Yeah, that's. Oh no, let me see. I'm sure I have something here
these are hums. These are not actual tracks. Yeah, I don't know.
because that's what we do. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, if you got
I'll send you
any
one.
stem or something
Yeah, I'll send you some
on Slack again.
on Slack. Hold on, let me see.
Sweet. let's just take boost onto here.
Crap, hold up. Now I just sent it to the wrong person. That person will be like, "Why are you sending me this sound?"
Is it your voice, Daniel?
Maybe. You tell me. It's a secret. Hold up.
Yeah, I also, by the way, viewers, I do not have access to the chat, so I'm not ignoring you. I just don't.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to do that. Okay, I send you a vocal.
Sweet.
On Slack.
I'll load in the vocal.
Is there side chaining? I don't think so, right?
There is no side chaining in this plugin. Let's see.
Let's see. I don't want to miss anything.
This is a vocal. Oh, this looks like a thick vocal. Okay. Let's see. How does this sound? Let's see how the vocal sounds without the boost on it.
How can I forget you? Skin to skin, I bet you.
Okay, this is gonna be cool because it's a full processed vocal. So
it's mine. Now you know. It was
this is you singing, yeah.
Yeah. I did that song for you. It was supposed to be a surprise, but
for my birthday, yeah.
I had to.
I expect the full song.
Oh yeah, you will.
So let's go. Yeah, let's hear some. They wanted to hear some vocal effects. So let's go to vocal. I'll go run through the risers and the impacts to hear some applications, and let's do four measures because it's a little more useful in a song.
How can I forget you? Skin to skin, I bet you. I'm feeling just the way I do.
Nice. So that's a cool one. And so you can really tell the sound you put in. It really determines what you get. So like I was using these weak default samples at the beginning and it sounded like not that great, and I was like, oh, that's because these sounds are awful. But so when I put Daniel's track in, it was better, and then this vocal. So it's really good. Like you want to think about this more globally. Like if you already have your song and you need to somehow transition it, you can rely on this thing. You can put it on top of a full bus and expect like massive results. So let me play through some more of these.
How can I forget you? Skin to skin, I bet you. I'm feeling just the way I do.
Cool.
How can I forget you? Skin to skin, I bet you. I'm feeling just the way I do. How can I forget you? Skin to skin, I bet you.
Nice. And then this is the one we heard on the instrumental. So let's see how it sounds on vocals.
How can I forget you? Skin to skin, I bet you. I'm feeling just the way I do.
Yeah, like that sounds like a production ready riser. That's crazy.
For sure, that's sick. Hold up, I'm gonna just go through.
Yeah, take a look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it possible to change presets by MIDI? No, you can't, but you can change the modes.
Right.
We did that. Hold on, there was something else that I missed.
Let me go through some impact.
If not in manual mode, are we automating the on-off to get it to activate at the right time?
Good point. So yeah, so you could, if not in manual mode, if you're running in auto mode, basically the behavior is that it will repeat the effect every X many measures. So if you have 4 measures selected, starting at measure 1, 4 measures, and then the next 4 measures. So if you're in a song and you don't want this thing repeating throughout the whole song, which you most definitely don't, there are 2 options. Yeah, you can automate off the plugin by disabling it.
Right.
Or the simpler solution would be to automate the finisher knob to 0.
Because like dial it in when you need it.
Exactly, because so when you're in auto mode, so manual mode, it makes sense that it's exactly what you draw on the knob.
Right.
But in auto mode, it's actually just setting the max value. So it's still gonna run, but if I lower it to 50%, it'll only max out at 50%. So essentially, if I put it on 0, it won't go anywhere. So that's something you can do is just draw in. It's probably easier and cleaner than automating the device. Is just to automate the knob to 0. But yeah, great question. I overlooked that earlier.
Can we talk about the beat knob? Well, yeah. So the beat knob. Now I can repeat what you told me because I
let's
just
see if you learned.
So yeah. So the beat knob allows you to shift the grid of the loop essentially. So instead of having it like on this one, for example, right now it's the beat or the effect starts on 1, but you can shift it if you wanted to start later. So that's what the beat knob is.
Yeah, so
I just found out.
And the visualizer is very intuitive. So if I have the blue ring around the finisher knob, if I have 2 measures, you'll see it subdivides more.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you can actually see every measure here. So half
Yeah,
of
the
the
visual
circle,
feedback is crazy.
half of the
It's
circle
so
is one
helpful.
measure,
Yeah.
and then it's the second measure. So whatever loop length I have selected, I'm actually seeing every single beat in that loop, and so the beat counter is tied to that. So if I want the downbeat of the third measure, like halfway through it, I would put it here, and you could see that it's one measure, two measure. That's the third measure, and so that's where you'll hear the effect. So this just
Yeah.
allows you, and again, I'm going to repeat that we saved presets and stuff so that it recalls on the first beat of the loop, because that's almost always what you would want. And at least when you first load it on a track, that's what's going to sound the most musical. It'll sound a little weird as you start to shift it, and it's not starting until, you know. So yeah, the beat control just allows you to pinpoint where you're trying to emphasize. So for a riser, it's leading up to that beat. For an impact, it's starting on that beat. And then for a transition, it's the merging point between the up and the down swell. So it's very intuitive. Basically, put this beat thing on wherever you want people to notice, like the listener.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's
Can
kind
you
of.
play?
Yep.
Sorry. Can you play my track again? Somebody wants to hear it with drums again. I think. That
Oh yeah,
person
with some
just
drum
joined.
modes. Sure. Let's turn the vocal off. Let's hear
Yeah.
Daniel's
and
track.
Just put it on the. Yeah.
Let's turn it off until we find a drum.
I got you. WDC.
All right, drums. So let's go through some drum modes. Here's speed ramp riser. Let's do 4 bars again. Getting glitchy. Yeah, so you can tell the drum modes are doing a lot more like rhythmic, like buffer sampling, and like great, like it's kind of like a lot more delay, and it's getting thin and stuff like that. That one's cool. Nice. Let's go. Let's do some impacts. So this one's cool. It's a classic sub drop, so you get a lot of bass out of it. You can hear it. I don't know if you have headphones on, users, watchers, but you might need to hear the sub. Oh, I just also realized I'm not playing at... Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Stick.
Yeah, I'm wondering what time marker we're at here with the live stream.
We're pretty much like 45 minutes or something.
Oh yeah.
Hold up, let's see. Use it on bass.
On bass. Okay, let's.
Do you have like a bass line or something?
Let me see. Do I have a bass loop? That's easy. If not, let's just get a virtual bassist, right?
Exactly.
I'm just a little concerned about my computer running all this screen sharing stuff, but let's see.
Hold up.
I've got like so many programs running behind Ableton right now. So let's. So we got Dandy. This is just one of the bassists from UJam. Let's get a more aggressive style.
Otherwise, here's an electronic sound that I sent you.
Oh yeah, you already sent it?
Yeah, I sent you something.
Sweet.
Like a techno bass line.
That's a
loop.
little more relevant. Let's use that just because Boost is a lot more, it's a little more modern, you know? This is the one. Let's see what this sounds like raw. Ooh. Nice, it's like a fat, like Reese.
Yeah.
All right, let's load Boost on there.
Yeah, for drum and bass, for sure.
Yeah, let's do, so this would be an instrument. Let's see, any of these, I guess. Let's start with some impacts. Classic Blitz. Turn up some of the values. I'm gonna make it 4 bars. You can hear this makes it sound like a video game with the bit reduction.
Yeah.
This one's funny. This is the thrown sink reference. Like, you throw everything at it, including the kitchen sink. So it just sounds junky, you know? Here's some transitions. I'm gonna flip them so we can hear the riser first. Oh, the loop ended. Actually, the loop's not that long.
Yeah, it's pretty short, yeah.
Oh, so let's go back to 2 measures then, because the loop is not that long. Radio to Smiley. That's a cool one. That's cool for bass, actually. And that's only 2 measures. Yeah, if the loop were longer, I would keep it on 4, but...
That's sick, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of options in there. And then you can always just flip them. You know, I didn't even flip things that much in these demos. But...
Yeah. But that's sick, though. Like, and... Yeah, somebody says... how that will possibly sound on strings and brass, but I think your computer will probably die right now if you do that. But
I can do it. Let's do that as one last example. Let's take it out of the context, put something different in like symphonic elements, and then we'll wrap it up. But yeah, let's do that for fun. Might as well.
Yeah. Because I was actually wondering the same. Like, I mean, the good thing about the symphonic elements is there is already a finisher section in there, but they do all kinds of different stuff. So this is like a whole different.
You can put this on top of that and still get a transition.
Let's go all bonkers.
So let's see. I'm just going to use strings here. Let's find... let's see. Oh, so that's the other thing. Is the finisher will play if you're just playing MIDI. So it doesn't have to run in the session. It actually emulates the running if you just play notes. So I'm just using my computer keyboard. And I can start hearing a riser come out of my strings, and again it's tied to the host tempo, so you can start playing on your keyboard and start hearing what things will sound like, which is an awesome feature. Let's see what. So I need to pick some kind of phrase. What do we like in here? Let's go through the presets a little. Yeah, sure. Let's just draw in some MIDI there. I'm so clumsy on my laptop. I apologize for my slowness. Normally, I work on a different computer. Let's see.
It's all good.
And let's actually make it 4 measures. So we've got a strings loop that sounds like this without boost. And then with boost, let's just go through, I guess we could use instrument, but it's already out of the box. Let's use any of these modes here.
Right.
Let's go for some transitions just to get some interesting effects going. Make it 4 measures. And obviously, the one thing in this demonstration that you're lacking is the context. So like, I'm setting a transition to happen in the middle of a 4-bar string loop. So there's no real like once you back it with your production and there's an intentional like structure change, it becomes like way more. It offers you way more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
so it sounds a little random to have a transition in the middle of a string part, but that's just for demonstration.
Right, exactly.
So risers would be cool to look at, then. Let's do some risers.
Mm-hmm.
That one's cool. That's like a tape stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Cool. Yeah, so that's strings. I mean, it would also be cool to put SE drums in here on the drums category. That'll be the last thing, just because I'm curious.
Exactly.
But that'll be the last thing, yeah. But so I don't know, again, about the giveaway. It seems like we're giving out 3 free licenses for Boost.
Yeah, so it's just we pick a random person from the chat. So if you're interested in winning one of the 3 licenses,
make sure you're chatting.
Yeah, drop a comment or whatever, and then
Yeah, let's see what drums sounds like with Boost.
Someone asks. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone asks, do we have options to the layers of effects? No.
No, so in
No.
the finisher series, that's kind of the beauty that we offer is that it's done for you. So you can't really say within this mode I don't want the reverb because it was kind of designed that way. So
Right.
if we were to allow you to strip it out, then the mode we're offering you is not really our full picture. So it might not be as magnificent as we are giving it to you in its current state. So yeah, the finishers is it's under the hood in our plugin development. It's this complex multi-effect chain. You can read. We explain it pretty well in the user manuals for the series. But basically, it's all different classical effects types: choruses, flangers, wet effects, delay. Like anything like that. But they're all modulated and automated and linked in series and or parallel. So there's it's really like there are no limitations on our end when we design them. But for that reason, the trade-off is that the user can't really do everything you need to or might want to. But but again, it's for inspiration really. So I think Boost is a good way to think about Boost is I know my song is lacking something, or I know I need a riser. But I don't know what it's going to sound like. Like most people who are either beginners or casual musicians or producers, they might not know I want to filter out and then go into a granular reverb and then automate all this, and even if you do know that, like myself, I don't want to do that ever. So that's the other benefit. The finisher series is supposed to be you sit down with this thing and you can make crazy music, and that's like that's the point,
Yeah.
So let's pull up drums for a last little demo. Let's see what this sounds like. Let's go through some other presets. That's cool. Okay, so it's a very ambient drum loop. Let's see what happens with some drum modes. Some risers. Nice. Let's go to some track risers or something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see which ones we haven't done. I feel like we showed a lot of these. How about this one? You lose the drums on that one because that's an instrument mode. So there is some intention behind the categorization, but yeah, and you'll also notice I changed the tempo earlier, so it feels way slower. I went down 30 BPM, and Boost knows what to do. So let's go back to drum risers just to send us out. That's cool. And there's also a little description here if you're ever curious kind of what the intention is. Like that one says the closer you get to the downbeat, the more your signal gets hacked and gated into smaller, thinner. So you know what to expect. It's kind of like dissipating in a tense way, Like that one sounds very sci-fi to me, like I could see that in like a spy show or something.
Yeah, somebody just said using it for a horror film score. Like that's a good point, like that, because especially there when you want to build tension and man, that's gotta be interesting if you use like strings to build up to a horror moment or something like that and then add that on top. I mean, I think
totally
there's some great possibilities
especially
to use it for that,
especially with the symphonic element series.
So that's dope, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
we covered everything. Yeah,
I think we covered as much as we can. Yeah, I think if anyone's curious, download the trial, see what you can get it to do, and share with us. Message us on socials with what you can do with Boost.
For sure, we always repost stuff. So if you guys create something with the UGEM plugin, send it over. Download the 30-day trial. Also, I think because it dropped today, I honestly don't know, so I'm gonna look it up. Okay, so right now you can save money if you buy it now.
There's an intro deal,
the intro deal. Usually it's $99, now it's $69. So and again, like with the trial, you can't go wrong because like fully like save it and whatever. Oh, actually, I did miss a question. Somebody asked if we do an update, if that could mess up projects, but we always pay attention to stuff like that.
We
that
always
never
That is that's always our number one, like our number one deal breaker in doing
Exactly.
updates is, will it preserve user sessions, because we can't have you losing your work.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
anytime we make a change, we're really intentional about about not tampering with some previous versions. And in the future, if anything has to happen like that, I'm sure we would give legacy versions for you to install. Yeah.
Sick. So yeah.
Well, thank you
I
guys.
think we're
Thanks
good.
everyone who tuned in to watch today. And I guess congrats to the 3 people who will get this for free. That's exciting. But yeah, everyone else, download it for free for 30 days. That's enough time to write multiple songs. See how you like it.
Exactly.
And yeah, let us know how you like it, and if you have feedback. We are always interested in hearing. So yeah, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Adam. And Daniel, aka Rusher, very talented producer and UGM coworker of ours. Yeah, we're gonna sign off now, but thanks again. Until next time.
And congrats to you, Adam. too.
Yeah, product release day. It's always exciting.
Yeah,